Okay, people, it's time for part 2 of the worst running advice that you can receive as a runner. And this is the race edition. So you don't want to miss out on these hilarious pieces of advice that runners are receiving that are just not true about running. Check it out. Hey, welcome back to Temple Running with MJ Smith. I am MJ Smith, and I said welcome back, so I guess I'm saying hey to those of you who are returning, and for those of you who are new here, welcome, and it's great to have you, and hopefully I'll be welcoming you back on another video at some point. But today we're going to go over part 2 of the worst advice that runners can get. Last time we went over like general running advice, and this one is going to be focused on races because some of you have been getting into virtual races and some actually in-person races that they've been doing some social distancing measures to make sure that some in-person races can happen. So as you gear up for your virtual race or your in-person race and you're telling your family and friends about this wonderful journey that you're going through with your running, they're going to offer you some advice. Some of them will. And it won't be helpful. So I'm going to try to go over some of that. So hopefully you'll recognize these when they come up in conversation and you will know to go the other way from what you are being advised at that given moment in time. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. One of the most terrible things someone can tell you is that you shouldn't drink water, or you should restrict your water intake right before a run so that you can avoid bathroom breaks. Not such a good idea. You definitely need to have adequate amount of water in order to run a race, especially if it's a long distance race. So definitely half of your body weight in ounces the day before, at least half your body weight in ounces the day before the race. The morning of the race, I usually sip on some water on my way to the run. You don't want to drink so much that you feel it sloshing around your stomach, but you definitely want to have some that your body, is fully hydrated, because when you sleep at night, you're not hydrating, and so you definitely need a little bit in the morning, but then lots of hydration afterward. But do not restrict your water intake so that you don't have to use the bathroom. Use the bathroom before the race. Run. If you have to stop, you just have to stop, but you need the water. You'd rather be stopping because you have to go to the bathroom rather than stopping because you've dropped in the middle of a race. Do not take that advice. The next piece of bad advice is that you have to eat a ton of pasta the night before in order for you to have enough energy for the race. Not true. Everyone knows I'm a fan of carbs. I did a whole video talking about how carbs are very good because carbs produce a glucose that give us the energy that we need to run. So carbs are great, the right carbs. And you don't need a ton of pasta. Pasta is great if you like it. It's a perfect reason to have some the night before a long run or a long race. But you don't need to eat a pile of spaghetti. Like, you can have some spaghetti and have some garlic bread, which is some more carbs, and have, a salad, which is going to give you some different kinds of good things for your body. You can have a balanced meal. Carbs should not be your entire meal for that night. So it is definitely a good idea to have some pasta if you like pasta. Otherwise, there are other carb choices that you can have, but you don't necessarily need to eat a pile of pasta the night before your run in order to have enough energy to run. There are other sources of energy, and pasta is just one of the perks for me because I don't eat it that often, and race day just gives me an excuse to have it. But not a must, and you don't need a ton of it. Yes, so this next one, I can see you now. You're at the Expo picking up your package, and you're walking by the Brooks booth or, just a general running vendor who's selling the cutest running gear. And you decide to buy some. And you're like, I'm going to be so cute in this race tomorrow. Nothing new on race day. Remember that. Remember that, because I try it all the time. And I was actually a person who bought new clothes just for my races. Every race, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to get a new outfit. I actually did okay because I usually bought about the same thing. But I did get caught a time or two with something that rubbed differently than I thought it would. And I didn't put chafe protection on enough for it, or something that didn't breathe the way I thought it would. And so I sweated more than I thought. Run day is not a good time to test out any new gear. You probably are best off buying new gear, training in it at least once, and then you should be cleared to wear it for your run. So even if you buy something and you want it to be special for your race, just go out and get a quick training run in it and make sure it's good before you get out there on your big day and try to run in something new. And then, oh, while you're at it at that expo, you decide that you're going to pick up some new shoes too, because people tell you that new shoes are fantastic to run in. Yes, the first day in new shoes is usually great as long as they're your shoes and your size. But over time, and after a few training runs, the shoes actually mold and conform to your feet and the way you run. So you need to do a couple of training runs in a pair of shoes before you get out there for a super long run. So do not go to an expo before your half marathon and buy a brand new pair of shoes and try to run in it the next day. This is not a good idea. I told you guys I like to have two shoes in rotation, one that I'm on and one that I'm kind of breaking in at all times, because you don't want to get caught with your primary running shoe being unfit to run for some reason and you don't have a broken in pair of shoes. So that's my piece of advice. That's what I do. Hopefully some of you are able to take that advice and use it, but definitely take the advice. Nothing new on race day, including shoes. Another piece of bad advice, and I've actually heard this one personally, is some people tell you that you should run really fast at the beginning of the race, like take off, and then, make up some time for when you might need to slow down in the middle or the end of the race. So they're telling you to bank miles so you can gain that time and have it banked so that when you need to slow down, it won't ruin your time too bad. Slow and steady wins the race. And most important, when I say that phrase, focus on the steady part. You need to keep a good pace. It's been proven that steady runners, if you run about the same pace the whole way, you're going to do good time. People who run out the gate trying to run with the top runner, the fastest runner, you are going to run out of gas super quick. I am actually guilty of the opposite. I think I run slower than I need to run because I'm afraid of running out of gas at the end. So, but I keep a pretty good pace. I could probably run faster. And I've been trying to use some of my training runs to work that out. But definitely no taking off and then running out of gas, because especially if you're doing a half marathon or more, that is a lot of distance and you do not want to be at mile 5 with nothing left to give and 8 miles to go. It's not fun, friend. I've been there. Please don't do it. Make sure that during your training, you find your pace and you use that pace when you're out there on race day. I guarantee you'll feel better through the whole race. You'll feel better at the end if you just take your time and do it at the pace that you're trained to do it. All right. So we're back at that expo again. And oh my goodness, they are giving you so many goodies. You got beans, you got goos, you got this special, coffee shots that they're giving. They're giving you all these little snacks to tell you to eat them while you're running. Yeah. Do not try anything new on race day. That is the theme of this bad advice show, okay? Nothing new for race day. So all those things may be great. Kindly take them because they're free. Take them. But put them to the side for after your race and when you're training again. Training is the time to try new things, not on race day. You don't want to be gagging on something on your way while you're running. You don't want anything to upset your stomach or just upset your senses at all. So my best advice is to just stick with what you know. No new flavors, no new things that you haven't tried before on race day. So the next piece of bad advice is actually for races and for when you are just running. And this is when people tell you that real runners don't walk, or that real runners don't take a break, no rest days, no days off. You know this is not true if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time. You absolutely need rest. You absolutely can walk and still be considered a runner, especially when you're starting out. You don't want to get started too fast. So a walk-run plan is the best way to get started on your running journey. And even after you're started, when you become an experienced runner, listen to your body. If you need to walk, it's fine. You are still a runner. It does not make you any less fit, any less athletic, but it definitely is okay to do that. Now, my goal is when I run a half marathon, the only time I stop is at the water stations so that I can get water. I stop at every water station. I probably should have mentioned that in the water advice. But I stop at every last water station. I don't guzzle a lot of water, and I don't actually stop. I get water at every water station. So that's usually where I allow myself to slow down for a minute if I need to take my water or drink my water or take my goo. But that is, otherwise it's my goal to run the whole time. But I have been in half marathons where I have needed to walk, and I stop and I walk when I need to. But sometimes your body is like, not today. You could be perfectly trained for a race, and on that particular day, your body is just not feeling the best. And when that happens, listen to your body, because your training is not the end all be all. What you thought you were going to do out there is not what always is going to happen. Sometimes you have to slow it down, listen to your body, and give yourself time to recover, even in the middle of a race. So, doesn't take anything away from you though, bro, sis. You're still good. You're still a runner. You're still top notch. You are actually doing the right thing and listening to your body and doing what you need to do for your body. So that's my list of the worst advice that runners get or can hear or receive from people. And like I told you in the beginning of the last video, a lot of this comes from people who have never run before. It absolutely has to, because if you're a runner, then you know these things aren't true. So I think that it's hilarious that there are so many people that take run advice from non-runners, especially beginner runners. Talk to the experienced people. The World Wide Web has made it available for you to get advice from experienced runners, so that you're not taking this bad advice from people who have never experienced running a long distance ever, or just some of them running ever. They're just going off of what they heard, and what they heard is something they heard from another person who is not running. So bottom line, I hope some of this bad advice rings in your ears, and you recognize it, and now you recognize it as bad advice. So thanks for tuning in. Let me know in the comments below what's your next runs you're doing. I'm really interested to know if some people are getting some in-person races in right now. I've been purely virtual, but I am looking to see when some in-person races start popping up that are social distance friendly. So let me know if you know of any of them in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, please like it below. Also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so that you can get more content like this on running and just nutrition and just general temple maintenance. And also hit the bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos. I upload once a week, at least once a week, and sometimes I give bonus videos in between, so you don't want to miss any of that. So hit that bell for notifications. And last but not least, if you are not already, please follow me on my blogs on Facebook, Twitter, and IG, Instagram. And I post my running journey there. And I also like to follow some of your running journeys. So please check me out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate every subscribe, every like, every comment, every minute, every second that you are watching my videos. I appreciate you. So thank you for tuning in. And until next time, are you in?